What if nobody ever told you what to believe, but everything around you taught you what to believe? Your family, your school, your culture, and now you defend those beliefs as if you created them yourself. Stop for a second before you answer this question. What do you believe? Ask a harder one. Why do you believe it? Because there is difference between choosing a belief and inheriting one. And sometimes we don't realize how much of our identity was formed before we were old enough to question it. Welcome back to Make Survive TV. This is Prophet and Astronaut. And today we are going after something much deeper than religion. We are going after you. Think about your earliest years. You didn't choose your language. You didn't choose your name. You didn't choose your culture. You didn't choose the people who first explained reality to you. You simply absorbed. This is how human beings learn. We watch, we imitate, we trust, we repeat, and eventually the things we repeatedly hear becomes familiar. And familiar things often feels true. But familiarity isn't proof. Yes. Something can feel obviously obvious simply because you have heard it your entire life. And that's where the story becomes uncomfortable. Imagine two people saying exactly the same thing, the same sentence. I experienced something I believe came from God. One is introduced as a respected spiritual leader. The other is introduced as a mentally unstable stranger. Same sentence, completely different reactions. Why? Because before you evaluate the message, you have already evaluated the messenger. That's the power of labels. Scientist, prophet, conspiracy theorist, geniuses, delusional, expert, fanatics. One word can change how your brain interprets everything that comes afterwards. So ask yourself, how many people have you rejected before hearing what they actually had to say? Now let's turn to the astronaut. When an astronaut tells you something about space, you don't usually think, I personally witnessed this, therefore it's true. You rely on a chain of knowledge, training, technology, measurement, other scientists, institutions, documentations, independent verifications. That's not necessarily blind belief. It's trust based on evidence and expertise. And that's important because this series isn't about pretending science and religions are identical. They aren't. Science uses empirical methods to investigate the natural world. Prophetic claims involve questions of revelations and spiritual authorities. They are different categories. But here is the uncomfortable question. Do we sometimes demand impossible levels of certainty from spiritual claims while accepting scientific claims simply because we trust the institution behind them? That's what's examining. Yeah, here's something fascinating about human psychology. We don't like contradictions. If you have spent 20 years believing something and suddenly encountered information that challenges it, your mind experiences tension. You have two choices: change your belief or find a reason to dismiss the challenge. And challenging your belief can be painful because sometimes changing one belief means questioning 10 others connected to it. That's why identity matters. If your belief is connected to your family, your community, your education, your reputation, your politics, your religion, your worldview, then questioning one idea can feel like pulling a thread from an entire sweater. Suddenly, everything starts moving. But here's the darkest part. Here, sometimes we don't fear that something is false. We fear being wrong. Imagine discovering that the belief you have defended publicly for years was mistaken. What would people think? What would your friends say? What about your family, your followers, your reputations? So instead of asking what is true, you begin asking, how can I defend what I have already said? And that's a dangerous transition, because now you are not searching for truth, you are protecting your identity. And this is where the prophetic question becomes even more interesting. Faith does not mean believing every person who claims. God told me, Scripture itself warns about false prophets. So the answer isn't believe everything spiritual, and it isn't reject everything spiritual. It's discern, test, examine, questions, look at characters, look at evidence, look at consequences, and don't give someone's spiritual authority simply because they sound confidence, because confidence isn't the same thing as truth. So maybe the greatest form of programming isn't somebody simply on the ring. Maybe it is something much more strong. Voice, fear objects, and our own desires to constant. Who all those to and then what sounds believable, what sounds ridiculous, who sounds intelligent, who sounds crazy, and which questions you are willing to ask. And the you may not feel because you are looking through it by trying to understand what. So here is my mind to ask. Take what belief you absolutely certain about. Don't defend it. Don't test it. Exit. Ask. Where I get this belief? What evidence was it? What evidence shall I need? Where you believe this thing and not somewhere else? Finally, if I discover I was we're actually willing to change. Because maybe real freedom isn't having no belief. Maybe real freedom is having the courage to examine them. Your mind doesn't need a prison set on the trap. Sometimes all it needs is a belief you're too afraid to ask. And if that's true, then what's the important question? Who controls it? It is who controls the assumption in that belief. If that question made you uncomfortable, don't for me. Subscribe to the society. It's not telling you what to believe. It's about asking the questions most people are too comfortable to ask. Part 5 is coming next. And this time, we are asking, what if your brain rejects truth before even hear it? Shut